Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayantara Rai, working from home. Edtech, what a winner it turned out to be in 2020, and 2 weeks into 2021, there's so much to still talk about Edtech. You've got Byju's looking at making another $1 billion acquisition. You've got Unacademy topping a valuation of $2 billion with a new secondary transaction. And you've got Jeff Bezos's Amazon flexing its muscles and entering the Edtech space, and is doing so first with the entrance exam for the IITs, the G exam as they're popularly called. What's going on? Is the market large enough for all the Edtech companies that are mushrooming? Where are they headed? Is this India's moment to really dazzle and shine and be the market leader in the space? Let's go across to Orias Ventures Partners Managing Partner Anup Jain, who's now joining us. Hi Anup, thanks so much for being a part of Startup Central. Just look at the amount of news that you're coming through with. Byju's, which acquired White Hat Jr. in 2020, looking to make another big acquisition in 2021. Unacademy in the first 2 weeks announcing a new secondary transaction and becoming, hitting a valuation of $2 billion. And you've got Amazon entering. What's going on?
Thank you for inviting me to the show. It is indeed a very, very exciting space. In fact, 2020, if I may, offer, is going to be the year of EdTech. And there is no surprise over there to see a large player like Amazon, which is getting into another large commerce space, because Amazon is a large commerce company. And any large space would attract it. Of course, with a very stable business profile would be even more attractive. And what's better than a test rep market in India, which is estimated to be $12 billion just last year, and it's growing at a healthy 14 to 15% CAGR, which means faster than the economy. This is a very, very lucrative space for anyone to enter. Also, since this is very outcome oriented, and what you're looking for is to get into a college of your choice or getting into a job of your choice, whether it's undergraduate or graduate or even government services, both state and central, what you're looking for is really a performance record, and that builds only over time. So creating a fresh brand is extremely difficult in this space overnight. You'll have to wait for years. So, a large brand would love to acquire an already established player and just make it, faster and cheaper for itself. So that's why you see the entire interest in that space.
There's also a year where we're finally going to see vaccination drive start. India is going to begin its on January 16th because of the board exams and a whole host of other reasons. You've seen states allowing students to come back, class 10 and 12 especially. You're saying that EdTech will only mature in 2021. Will it also not be a year where post-vaccinations, people will want downtime, move away from their screens?
Yes and no. So vaccination may start, but I think our lives are changed forever. I think none of us are going to go back to the same pattern, apart from maybe eating out, which we always love to do, and we would love to do that again, because we got absolutely nil over there in 2020 during the pandemic. But in every other sphere, I think we all realize that our habits have changed forever. It is going to be in education a mix of the physical along with the digital. And India being a young country, which is driving the entire EdTech industry. There are 360 million students, over there every year as part of the population, doing something or the other, trying to get an outcome, trying to get a good grade, trying to get into a good institution or crack a job after completing their education. So this industry is definitely changed forever. And young at that, the Gen Zs, which are all 8 to 23 years old, they are digital natives. They haven't gone to a bazaar to figure out, what they're going to wear. Their first port of call when they're looking for something to wear is also online. So in the case of education, things are going to be a mix. It's going to be a hybrid, and it's actually a pedagogic call because while the places for discovery, etc., will shift to pretty much digital, but the modes of delivery of education will certainly be a combination of the physical and the digital. So wherever you feel that the outcome can be achieved by staying online or being digital, I think it'll be best to keep everyone digital, right? And where the
so Anup, if I could just come in there. So Anup, if I could just come in there, sorry for interjecting. I totally understand and appreciate that hybrid is the way forward. You've already heard how there's so many startups looking to address that space. They started working with schools and colleges, all of that. But what I also want to ask you is that as an investor, you're literally spoiled for choice, because it's so many startups are mushrooming, so many that still have to scale up, many that have are at an inflection point, all of that. As an investor, give us an idea and give your advice to the founders. What impresses the investor community when it comes to EdTech? I get the market is large enough. You've got a burgeoning population that needs to be either upskilled or educated. What does an investor look for?
So I think the investor, in this space looks for exactly the same metrics as they would look in any other, sector, but purely in terms of educational metrics. We are an emerging market. So when you're building something for India, the large middle class, which is driving this sector, is spending a disproportionate amount in education in order to get an outcome. So outcome-based performance track records are extremely important to establish and demonstrate to get an investor interested. Acquisition alone is not going to do the trick. You're not going to be just an attractive candidate for investment if you can demonstrate that you acquired consumers or retained consumers. But the question is whether you delivered an outcome which they were looking for. So whether they were looking for a better grade, whether they were looking for, getting into their favorite colleges or cracking a job in government services or state or central or any other private services, that is extremely important. And we've seen this in China as well. China, grew Edtech in a major way, and the aspirations of the average Chinese middle class was exactly the same: to give a better life to their children, and education was seen as a passport for a better life, right? So it has to deliver that outcome. It has to deliver on that. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I think, which is often a validator for us at the early stage, is whether you have that retention. So if it's very easy to acquire consumers by throwing some marketing, but at the end of the day,
right, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, very valid points there. Anup, unfortunately out of time. Many thanks for joining us on this edition of Startup Central. That's EdTech continuing to be hot. What a year, what a way to start off the year. You got Amazon entering with the entrance exams. It's official now. You've got Baiju's looking to make $1 billion acquisition. An academy that became a hero during the pandemic, also topping a valuation of $2 billion. We'll take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. On the other side, the co-founder of Khata Book.